So I call for the elevator, it comes down. I'm about to get on, and the girl on the elevator says, I wouldn't get on this elevator if I was you. It just got stuck on me. So I get off the elevator, I turn around, I say, aren't you getting off too? She says, no, I was put on hold with the emergency button people. You just got stuck on this elevator. This is your chance. Go and ask me if I'm wearing pants. Why would I wear pants? It's not even showing my legs. Why would I put pants on? Alright, this is the first time that almost every state mandated the wearing of a face covering. So, how much longer until we get to take these off? First, let's take a look back into the first time that a mask was mandated in a state in the US. California, in the city of San Francisco in the year 1918, October 22nd. You already know what was busting back then. Influenza. In that same October month, the flu killed 195,000 Americans. 2,011 of those deaths were from San Francisco, one of the hardest hit cities hands down. Merely 1 month after the masks were mandated, it was lifted. Why? Because a week before it was lifted, there were only 6 reported cases in San Francisco. They only had to wear their mask for a month. How long have we been doing this now? How long? Reported cases would soon rise again. Let's jump to January 1919. 1 week in that January, there was 4,000 reported cases of the flu. January 19th, the mandate to wear masks was brought back. Of course, this was met with some serious backlash. They just took their mask off and now they gotta put them back on. Voiceover Johnny, would you please read what one of the citizens wrote?
What doctors don't know about this epidemic of influenza would fill a decent-sized library, and yet they have the gall to force us to wear masks as a preventative when no 2 authorities in the United States are agreed as to the cause, let alone the prevention or cure of the disease.
That was dummy dramatic, but thank you. Anyways, the guy who wrote that was right. The doctors back then didn't know much about the flu. They just knew that it was transmitted through the nose or through the throat. And mandating face coverings makes sense. If disease is spread through our nose and our mouth, why not cover our nose and our mouth? It's intuitive. That's the way that we think. Despite how logical wearing a mask seems, I think it's important to understand how real-world viruses interact with it. Because, it's on our face. The CDC tells us that masks are supposed to prevent the travel of respiratory droplets that come from talking, sneezing, or coughing. Real quick, take out a piece of your hair. My shit nappy, hold up. Look at the thickness of that piece of hair. Not the length, the thickness. Now divide that thickness by 40, and you got yourself a bacteria cell. Now divide that bacteria cell by a couple hundred or a couple thousand, and you got yourself a virus pathogen. These things are smaller than the NBA boycott, because it was only a day and a half. On a microscopic side of things, the holes in our face coverings are relatively big. When we sneeze, cough, talk, or even breathe, we project things from our body. Those projections are filled with bacteria and virus, microbes of all types. This is what's important. Viruses travel via droplets and aerosols. So, for example, if we sneeze, some droplets hit the floor. These are heavy droplets, but majority of our droplets are light and they evaporate before they hit the floor. Those are aerosols. Through aerosols, these viruses are freed and can stay in the air for upwards of a couple hours. When we project stuff, it's sprayed through the sides, above, and below the mask. Only droplets that are relatively big are gonna get caught onto the mask. The most notable effect of masks is that it significantly reduces the amount of forward projection. It should be noted that all face coverings are different. A lot of this depends on the type of mask and how it's worn. Anyways, taking a lesson from the past, we probably won't be able to take these off until we start to see a significant downward trend in the number of reported cases. Mandating face coverings and social distancing has not started a downward trend. Okay, so what about a vaccine? Looking at the flu outbreak of 1918, they did not have an official civilian licensed vaccine until 1945. So that's 27 years. And if you look it up now, they say that the development of a vaccine should take no longer than 15 years. And considering COVID is a big deal, it's kind of hard to imagine that they aren't rushing it. But the flu was a big deal too, to be fair, and it still took 27 years. Actually, the flu's still a big deal, but nobody gonna talk about that. Anyways, we've been wearing masks for multiple months now. What's a few more years?
Nah, they said they gonna have a vaccine later this year.
What?
Yeah, they said they got a release date like an album.